All right, you guys, here's the test review, page by page. Here goes page 1. 3 or more lines that intersect at one point. That is a concurrent intersection or point of concurrency. A perpendicular segment from a vertex. The vertex is very important to the line containing the opposite side. From the vertex, that's an altitude. There's two different objects that end up being perpendicular. Altitude and the perpendicular bisector is the other one. Both of these end up having a 90-degree relationship. The same distance from two or more objects. That is equidistant. A line that divides an angle in half into two equal pieces. That is an angle bisector. A segment that joins the midpoints of two sides of a triangle. That is a mid-segment. A line that intersects a segment at its midpoint and forms a right angle. There's the other 90-degree one, and cutting that segment in half. And a line that connects the midpoint of one side of a triangle to the opposite vertex. Well, we only got one more option, but it is a median. So those are the verbal descriptions. Now make sure you understand what should we see with the physical description. So an altitude, that can go from any vertex. Often it's the highest point, but we could spin this object as many times as we want. So actually, I'll do it from this vertex. If this was the highest point, we would want to go to the opposite side. The one piece of information we would need to know is that we have a 90-degree intersection with that side, and it goes from a vertex. Median has to go from a midpoint. So let's say I use this side, because each of these, I can draw 3 different examples, but median goes from a midpoint, so I would need to make markings that demonstrate that it's a midpoint, and it goes to the opposite vertex. Perpendicular bisector. Okay, so we have to choose one of these sides to cut in half. I'll choose the top. That looks like these. If that's the halfway point, I would need to describe it as the halfway point. And then I got to draw a line that's perpendicular there. So perpendicular means, again, 90 degrees. An angle bisector, I've got to choose one of these angles, and I got to cut it in half. The way I tell people that we cut it in half, those two angles better be the same. So that is page 1 of the review.